Heather McDonald has got the juiciest scoop. When you're on the road, when you're on the go, Juicy Scoop is the show to know. She talks Hollywood tales, her real life Mr. Segment serial data, and serial sister. You'll be addicted and addicted fast to the #1 tabloid real life podcast. Listen in, listen up. Woo woo. Heather McDonald, Juicy Scoop.
Hello and welcome to Juicy Scoop. So much to get through. This is going to be lots of fun, hot topics, juicy stuff for you. First of all, I'm wearing my Oregon sweatshirt. I had such a great time in Oregon celebrating with Parents' Weekend with my two boys. Drake came down from Arizona, ASU, and got to see the beautiful campus of the Ducks where my other son, Brandon, goes. So we had a lot of fun, went to the game, went to the Nordstrom's rack, enjoyed that free sales tax. And, as we were leaving, I just need to tell the story because we talked about scams recently. And this happened to a fellow mother ducker. Yes, I'm part of my first mother's texting group. That is the first time I've ever been part of a mom group. And I've been a mom for 25 years. And I'm part of this mother ducker group that they're all moms at Oregon, and they're really pretty fun. And they made me a bracelet. I'm part of the whole thing. Anyway, so, but first I just want to say, so we're getting on our flight, and we're on this airline called Avelo, and it's only a 2-hour flight from Burbank Airport to Eugene, and so it's really convenient. But they don't fly that often. And because it's so inexpensive, you have to pay for every bag, and you can't bring on a carry-on. I don't even know what the rules are. So, Peter made us share a bag, which is fine. It was fine. But then we shopped at the Nordstrom's rack with the tax-free. And luckily he brought another duffel bag. And, he wanted me to carry that to this big, long duffel bag onto the plane as the carry-on, or I don't even know what the deal was. But at the last minute, somebody just spoke to me, which was God, and said, you know what, Heather, no. You do pretty well in life. You're checking in this bag. It's way too weird of a size for a carry-on. And I'm and I'm afraid that I'm going to people are going to recognize me or something, and they're going to see me as I walk down the aisle with this big red duffel bag, and it's going to be hitting people's heads, and, someone will make a TikTok about what a rude asshole I was. So I'm no, Peter, I'm putting down the card. I'm paying the $65 to check this bag. And, he kind of laughed. We got on with our lives. Only to wake up to today's Mother Ducker text thing. And one of the Mother Duckers said, oh, yes, everyone's we had such a great time. What a fun weekend visiting our kids. And then one of them said, until what happened to me. I'm not going to say the airline or anything because maybe she wants some anonymity. But she was on also somewhat of an inexpensive airline. Oh, by the way, the Avelo airline, they don't serve any drinks, no snacks. There's no first class or anything. You can fill up your water anywhere now. So that's kind of nice before you get on the plane. But there are these little bottles of water. And if you go to the bathroom, there's 4 available for the plane, and you just have to grab those before. Anyway, the flight is less than 2 hours. And I just want to say, I think it's kind of great. People aren't going to the bathroom as much because they didn't have anything to eat or drink. It's probably an easier cleanup. The flight attendants probably have an easier experience. It really was fun. But anyway, so just make sure you have some water and a snack. Anyway, so this Mother Ducker wrote me and said, everything was great until I was getting off the plane. And I was pulling down my carry-on, and this 65-year-old man around that went, oh my God, you hit me with your bag. And then he flings himself across 3 empty seats and screaming, you gave me a concussion. And this woman was writing us, and she's I was just what? There's no way I hit you that hard. And so it was clearly another one of these scammers that's happening where people are Sometimes you see it like on cameras and stuff where like literally someone's like, oh, excuse me. And then they like throw themselves down or they throw themselves in front of a car, or literally jump on a car and act like you hit them. I mean, it's out of control. So this woman was very nervous about it, was like, what is going on? And luckily the other passengers and the flight attendants were like very nice. So she was not detained nor arrested or anything like that. But I'm like, you know what? I knew I did the right thing by checking in that bag because I don't know. I like to check in bags now for that exact reason. Also, if it's heavy and you can't, and you don't have the physical strength to like lift it up over, the flight attendants legally, they are not supposed to help you. And then if you're asking another stranger to help you, you just don't know who that stranger is. You don't know if you're going to ask him to lift up the bag for you. And then he's like, oh my God, my arm, my shoulder is screwed up now because your bag was too heavy. And so anyway, that's my travel tip. Had a great time. The Oregon Ducks won and we had a great time. And now my next trip is I'm going to be in Irvine, you guys. I will be in Irvine, California, November 8th and 9th, 7:30 and 9:30. Those are stand-up shows with the hilarious Julie Goldman joining me for the stand-up. And then a no holds bar live juicy scoop where there have been topics, there's been stories, there's been things I've been saving just for the live show. It's going to be some fun shit talk, gossip, hilarity. That is Sunday, November 10th. This is not going to be streamed. This is not going to be recorded. This is never going to be heard except in the Improv. So that is why you want to go, so you can be privy to the fun, juicy scoop. That's all at heathermcdonald.net. Now, let me remind you guys, if you are part of the Apple paid subscription, click on the link in the Apple description of this episode, okay? And then we will send you the information that you need to cancel and then resubscribe to my own personal channel here. That is to ensure that you get everything you deserve and that there isn't any kind of screw up and you miss no content. Okay? So that is what you do. Click on that link, which is right here in the description of this particular episode under the Apple subscription. Okay? So now, this was kind of a beautiful moment at Caesar's Palace. Adele was going through and singing her song. There's one song, While We Were Young, that she sings. I've seen tons of video, though I've only seen Adele once, and it was many years ago at the Beacon Theater, and I barely knew like two of her songs, and I was like, this is amazing. I've been trying to go to the show ever since and have not been able to, and now she's announced it's ending for a while, so I don't know. I'm manifesting that somehow it's going to work out on a weekend that I'm free to go. So she's walking through and she sees Celine, who I guess is doing better now because there's talk that she's going to also return to Las Vegas. I don't know if she'll be returning back to Caesars. It'd be quite a coup if she went to a different casino. But they saw each other and they hugged and, and Page Six captured the moment and a lot of people captured the moment. And very lovely. Of course, you'd probably say that Celine was a huge influencer in her life. Clearly not as much as Beyonce, but just as long as after she hugged Celine, she also made a point in talking, because I know she likes to talk a lot. I don't know what she said, but I'm hoping she said, Celine is here, but I also want to thank Beyonce for my career as well. Let's just hope that she said that. Okay, so that was a fun thing that happened over the weekend. Now, this is a juicy relationship, new Hollywood relationship that's been in the news for about the past week. Sutton Foster, who I really wasn't aware of the name. I was like, is she one of David Foster's daughters? I didn't really know. But she is the star of the very popular show Younger, which is one of those shows that I think I'd probably love. I just have never seen it. She's also a very good singer, big Broadway star. And she co-starred in The Music Man on Broadway with Hugh Jackman. And now they are saying they are absolutely a couple. She has recently filed for divorce. So she is, not 100% single, but on her way to, being divorced. And they did this show together, she and Hugh Jackman, like a year and a half, 2 years ago or something like that. And now it's coming out that insiders are saying that his now ex-wife, that she had suspicions. And but hopefully there was maybe some chemistry, and hopefully he did the classy thing, and there was no cheating behind anyone's back while they were married. They ended the marriage, and now he is going on to supposedly have this full-on relationship with her. And they're like, the insiders are saying they're in love. They're a couple, all of this. They're both song and dance people as well as actors. And I find this like a very juicy for many reasons. Hugh Jackman is a song and dance man, but he's also like Wolverine, but he married a woman like 10 or 12 years older than himself. And there were always just rumors like, is he gay? Is Hugh Jackman gay? And I think it was just because he could like sing and dance, but then also just having a wife that was a little bit older. I don't know why those two together just made people think, Also, they have 2 kids, but they were adopted. So sometimes I'd be like, yeah, because he's not having sex with her. Who knows the reason? Whatever. Those kids are 23 and 18 now. But anyway, now I feel like, wow, this really kind of proves that all those rumors and all that chatter was just that. I mean, it's really not true. They had a nice marriage. It lasted for a really long time until it didn't. And now he's in love with this girl who I don't know their age difference, but they look good together. I assume they're probably within like a 10-year age range, him being a little older, but nothing like crazy. He's not like dating a 25-year-old or anything. And there you go. They're a new hot couple to watch. Okay, some fun things that also happened over the weekend besides my fun weekend. Timothée Chalamet showed up at this park in New York City because there was like a fun Timothée Chalamet lookalike thing going on. And I guess he heard about it. He showed up, and I guess all these young guys looked like him. I'm just imagining a lot of like very thin, pale wrists on men. But anyway, he seems to, that was a big delight to all these people. However, they didn't have a permit, so police were called. And one person was like, got a citation or something, which is just weird. But, I don't know. It just seems like you could do other things in the city and nobody follows up. But this one, they wanted to shut down some Timothée Chalamet fun. Now, apparently he's still dating Kylie. I kind of love that we don't hear about it. It appears to be a real relationship. He's another one that because of his first movie being Say My Name, about a young man who fell in love with Armie Hammer, who was like 36 and he was 16. Again, nobody had a problem with that, inappropriate kid underage in that movie. But anyway, it's a good movie. But I think that they are like a real couple. And I think that Kylie, as big as she is probably the person in that family that likes to keep her life a little bit private. But then when she needs to go out and get the photos and, take hot photos, she's like into it. But I don't know. I think this is a real thing, but I kind of like that we don't know that much about it. I don't know that he's ever made one appearance on Keeping Up. Must be killing Chris. Oh, by the way, Kris Jenner got a lot of moments this weekend where people reposting how there was like a cousin's little party for all the grandkids, like a trick-or-treat party. And she showed up as Snow White. And she looked so young and fabulous and thin. And she was just wearing one of those like sexy Snow White outfits, probably from like Trashy Lingerie, which are quite expensive. I, in fact, borrowed from Kris Jenner years ago her Wonder Woman one, which was so good. And at the time to buy that was like several $100s. So that was like, I was like, oh, I can't imagine spending this much on a Halloween costume. And anyway, she rocked it and she looked great. But I think people were like, oh my God, what is she doing? But that's Kris. She's always been like that. And she's always had a ton of like really good costumes, probably from Trashy Lingerie. So there you are. Okay. Also, this article came out about why James Franco and Seth Rogen ended their friendship. And basically, James Franco was like, he had assault charges and lawsuits and things coming at him during the Me Too. And, basically, Seth Rogen was not there to defend him or stand by him or say, this is my friend, I don't care. he just, it sounds to me, kind of ghosted him. I don't think that's a terrible idea in Seth Rogen's world. Maybe it is 100% because James Franco was on the wrong side of the news when it came to the Me Too scandal. However, what we don't know, just like in a marriage, someone might be like, oh, it ended because I cheated. It's like, no, it ended. Yeah, you cheated, but it was like the 10th thing. And that was my final, okay, I can't forgive this. So we don't really know what went on in this 20-year friendship. Sure, they did these great movies together. They had this great fun. But Seth Rogen might have been like, you know what? I'm kind of I'm over this. And this was the cherry on the shit cake I needed to realize that this friendship is completed. It is okay. I don't wish him any harm. I wish him well, but I just want to step back. And then just like a romantic relationship, sometimes you miss the person, but sometimes you don't. Sometimes friendships can end. And I know it's always fascinating when it's people that were friends that are public figure who are no longer friends. And I too wonder about friendships I've talked about in the show. Why did it end between Kelly Ripa and Jerry Seinfeld's wife? What was it? And we're never going to totally know. And if you put both of those people alone in a room, they might have different reasons to why it ended. And they might be completely fine why it ended. Or one might be like, I'm really sad. I would love to get back there. Who knows? Life is long. And just like people don't stay married to someone their whole life, I always think it's so interesting that when someone ends a relationship with their spouse, the father of their child, their 3 children who were married to for 25 years, everybody's like, you go, girl. Good for you. You're brave. Kick him to the curb. You did what was best for you, which all could be true. But then those same women are so invested in why 2 women stop being friends. Like they need to know every little detail, why, whose fault it was, what was it. And it's like, sometimes it just is. It just is. It was, friends are here for a reason, season a lifetime, or when they get accused of a Me Too situation. There you go. That's Hollywood. Also on the friendship topic, this came from In Touch Weekly. Jennifer Aniston, allegedly, is hurt by Friends co-star Courteney Cox friendship with Brad Pitt. So according to this article, Courteney Cox, obviously they've been friends for a long time, well over 30 years from when they were on Friends together. Brad Pitt guest starred on Friends, and then he and Jennifer fell in love and got married, and then he started cheating on Jennifer Aniston with his co-star from Mr. and Mrs. Smith, Angelina Jolie. They had an affair, and then they got divorced, and he married her. And Richie, they had 6 kids together, basically, and now she hates him, and they're getting divorced. However, she looks to be dating someone new, so that's good. Anyway, he's got a new girlfriend who's barely 30 and he's 62 or something, looking like he's 25 with a real good snatched face. Still cute as can be. So he is also friends with her man, Courteney Cox's man. And supposedly she's talking to him and they're doing coupley things together. And Jennifer is not thrilled with it, but she's too classy and has too much pride to say, hey, Court, really? It's kind of fucking bothering me. I know and then Court could be like, come on, Jennifer, you have been divorced for 15 years. Really? My husband or boyfriend get along with Brad. The girlfriend's really cool. I like her jewelry. The girl has a jewelry line or something. And Jennifer's like, no, it's fine. You're right. It's been so long. And who am I to care if you and Brad want to get a margarita together? And I don't even care if you and this new chick want to do the downward dog and yoga. And it's, you know what? God, it just sort of kind of bugged when I heard Heather McDonald talk about it on Juicy Scoop. I was like, oh, that is annoying. I think it's only really annoying if Courteney, this is my advice to you. You want to please your new man. He wants to smoke cigars or whatever with Brad Pitt. Don't post about it. Maybe plan the get-togethers when Jennifer Aniston is in Cabo having a margarita herself. Or, just don't do it when it could be that she could be home alone and then she has to be like, hey, Court, want to come over and just watch a marathon of Tell Me Lies and laugh. No, then that would suck to go, actually, I can't, Jen, because I'm meeting your ex-husband and his new 30-year-old girlfriend, and the four of us are going to go to Craig's and take paparazzi pictures after. So, like, that's when it's not cool. But that's what happens. People break up. And one of my favorite scenes from the made-for-TV movie of Betty Broderick, A Woman Scorned, starring Meredith Baxter Birney, is when she is working at the art gallery because she had to get a job because Dan has completely fucked her after he started dating a teenager. And she picks up the phone to call her friend of 20 years, takes off her earring, her clip earring, so 80s, and is like, hey, happy birthday. Where are we going for lunch? And she's like, oh, I'm so busy, Betty. I haven't had time. No, come on. Every year I take you to lunch. Where are we going? I was thinking the Colonnade Room or whatever. Betty, I have to be honest with you. Joe and I have been social with Dan and his new wife, Linda. And it's just, he got to you too. He got to you too. There have been times I've definitely related to Betty Broderick, where I feel like a former friend has gotten to all of my friends, and that's it. They won them in the divorce, and I wasn't even romantic with this person. And you just have to go, okay. You don't buy a gun and go over and kill them in the middle of their sleep, okay? You just say, okay, I'm going to go find some new friends. So that's my advice to everybody. Okay, this was really interesting. This is a UCLA study done where it says teens want to see less sex and more friendship in movies, TV shows. So basically they're saying these kids they love fantasy and all that kind of stuff, but they'd also like to see some real movies representing themselves that is not all about sex. Now, I think of like the Euphoria being such a hit. I don't know if that's coming back. What happened? It took the big break during COVID. But I mean, that was so much sex, all different kinds of sex I didn't even know existed, everything, but juicy with teenagers. And I guess they're like yearning for the shows that I said existed when we, our movies were Pretty in Pink and there was romance, but it wasn't these really graphic sexual scenes. And, there was just, they liked each other and wanted to take each other's to prom and whatever. And so anyway, that's really interesting. And I really hope that, there was a little good news that came out of California that they're going to give a larger tax break to the productions here going forward if this bill gets passed that Governor Gavin Newsom has proposed. So that's good. Still nowhere close to other states, but at least better than what we have right now. So that's good. But in doing that, I really hope that we get some movies that like Gen Z and Gen Alpha can get into and enjoy the way we did. That's not all about like robots flying or Euphoria. So, because there's a lot of sex going on in the movies that I like to watch, and I'm okay with that. There's a new movie that Nicole Kidman is in, and I saw this article everywhere that she said, I have to just stop having orgasms while filming the sex scenes in this movie that she's filming. So I assume that while they are simulating sex on film and there's a full soundstage and crew members and people like eating craft services, I think what I gathered from this article is that she is in fact having multiple orgasms while filming this scene. And it's about her being like a powerful CEO and she is screwing one of her male interns. And there have been a lot of movies lately about an older woman and a younger man that just cannot get enough of her body. I just saw one on Netflix, was like a limited series where a woman is like 60 and the guy is like 25. I downloaded, I haven't watched it yet. Then there is the Laura Dern one, which is like an Eat, Pray, Love, but with Laura Dern, and she goes on a trip and meets some young stallion. And, it's all like cool. It's just sort of been a lot of movies like that. And, but I'm down to see it. And I also just think there's something like it is kind of smart because there's women that want to see this and see this kind of sex and everything. And we like it because we're of like that age. Um, but like if it was like a 60-year-old man that if it was from his point of view and finally like, his wife's not giving him the attention that he needs and he's this powerful CEO and he's like, "You know what? I am going to get laid with this young girl that works for me." It would be a completely there's no way that there's ever been a movie where someone would see his point of view and feel sorry for him or be like rooting for him. There's just no way. It would be from the young, you know, intern or executive assistant's point of view, and that would be kind of hot, or it would be from the wife who's been cheated on point of view. It'll never be from the guy's point of view, and it would be like, go for it. So this is a different kind of movie, and you better believe I'm going to watch it. So after this article was plastered everywhere, how she can't stop having, I guess, mini orgasms while she's filming these sex scenes with this young guy. Everywhere is, oh my God, she threw a surprise party for her husband at a charity event and her two kids were there and how great it was. And so I think that was smart because I think she probably like said it in one interview as like a throwaway. And now it's just like, that is not a great birthday present for your husband of like 20 years. Speaking of older actresses, there is a lawsuit going on by a casting director who would cast the Hallmark movies. She's done it for a lot of years. She is close to 80, and she is saying that she was let go and she believes it's based on ageism. But in her lawsuit, it says that they wanted to get rid of Holly Robinson Peete and they wanted to get younger actresses to be doing these Hallmark movies. And therefore, it's pointing ageism at the Hallmark Channel. Well, I mean, I think there should be a variety of things, and you want to bring younger viewers to watch these Hallmark movies. The reason people love these Hallmark movies, because I have never really gotten into them, because I like cheating and sex and murder and like murdering your husband. And those are my favorite kind of movies, along with movies surrounding rich people doing cocaine in the 80s. Those are all my favorite kind of movies. To me, I love it. Now, what I understand from these Hallmark movies is sometimes people are like, I just want to watch something that's not going to trigger me, not to overuse the word. I don't want to see something about cheating because my husband, who I'm divorcing, cheated. I don't want to be reminded of it. I don't want to be reminded of murder or kidnapping or war or anything else. I just want something nice. And these movies are all, the girl leaves the big city, goes back to visit her parents. The town could not be cuter. And she falls in love with the guy who sells the Christmas trees. And just when she thinks they're going to have a simple life, she realizes he actually owns the 800 acres of trees. So they're going to be rich anyway. And it all works out to be fine. That is something sometimes people just want to see. So I think that you would want to bring in like, more actresses that are like 30 so that the 30-year-olds watch it. But this, as long as someone is still capable of doing their job and doing a good job, that's where it gets a little sticky. But that was kind of interesting. I mean, if Holly Robinson Peete is 60, I can't believe she's that old. She looks amazing. I'm sure there's roles and things that she can play in these movies, but maybe it's that she goes and screws the 30-year-old lumberjack because that's the theme of movies now. So that's what they should do. Keep Holly Robinson Peete, just have her be having sex with someone half her age. Okay, Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. The trailer has dropped and they all look gorgeous and they're all dressed like old Hollywood. There's one new cast member who I believe is an like a full-blown businesswoman or executive, but she's not an actress, but I think she has something to do with the business and I don't know her name. And then we have Dorit, we have Kyle, we have Garcelle, Sutton, and Erica Jade. That's right, baby. I'm back. Coming back to the show. And the trailer looks real good. And we see Kyle crying and talking to her husband, Mauricio, who they are still not divorced, but we know that they are separated. We still don't know what the relationship is with Morgan Wade. I'm going to make you love me. But I see Morgan Wade is performing everywhere. And sometimes Kyle is there cheering her on. So there has never been someone else in the franchise that just has like a best friend that gets to go to things and have scenes that isn't also like going to be possibly a Real Housewife. The closest I can think of it is Camille Grammer has a really good friend, and I think she also works with her. That's kind of like her +1 to events, but I don't believe this woman has ever been mic'd or anything like that. So it is kind of interesting that but it makes for interesting stuff. Is this girl, who again is about 30 years younger than Kyle, Morgan, are they just friends? This is what I think happened. And this is something we will never get confirmation on. But this is my prediction. In this season, no, nothing's going to be revealed that they ever did the lickety splits together. No. I think that Kyle did pursue her, did enjoy her music, was very like starstruck and thought this is such a cool, interesting new friend. And I'm kind of having a midlife crisis. She's also sober. So is Morgan. And I think that she did grow out of love for Mauricio and his bullshit and his attention-seeking ways that she'd put up with all those years. And so this was like a really fun distraction and a friendship that she really likes. If it was romantic at one time, which it could have been, I just don't think it is anymore. And I don't think it has been for like a year and a half. But like many gay guys and lesbian women, sometimes they can remain friends afterwards, more so than heterosexual couples. So I think they are friends. I think Morgan is not stupid and realizes that we would not know her name or her music if it wasn't for Kyle essentially introducing us to her. And I think she'll make an appearance here or there and kind of keep the audience guessing. But I don't think we need to keep guessing anymore. That is what I personally think. Now, this is a crazy story that came out. Mauricio and his sister, their father, who's divorced from their mother, he's like 81, is in a relationship with this woman. I don't know how old this woman is or what, but the sister, Mauricio's sister especially, has filed to get a restraining order against her. She feels that this woman, who is her dad's girlfriend, is not good for his well-being or his health. And they are trying to gain control and possibly put him in a conservatorship. I don't know if he doesn't have his wits about him or what the deal is, but they feel that this woman who's around him is, bad news for him. And I just thought that was a really interesting story. I pray for their family. I hope that isn't the case. It reminds me of the Casey Kasem case that I talked about on the show, where I had his daughter on here, who's a famous radio DJ, and he was married to this woman for quite a while. And then when he got sick, they truly felt that their stepmother was not taking care of their father the way she should. And she cut them off from talking to him. They couldn't get on the phone. It seemed like he was fearful of her. They couldn't stop by. It was insane, right up to taking control of where he was to be buried. They didn't have a say. So this is something that is very concerning if your parents are no longer together or if your parent is a widow or widower who could slip in and you're like happy probably for a moment that they have like a new, companion and they're happy. But as an adult child, like you just never know. And with all these scammers and grifters in the world, and then if you feel that your parent is not being well taken care of, there's that too. So that's happening. Brandi Glanville, she put out a very interesting tweet. Bravo Lowdown picked it up and grabbed it. So I don't know if she kept it up there or not, but it got a lot of play. She wrote, "Happy Sunday Fun Day. It's been almost 2 years since a lying, short, red-headed, closeted old lesbian ruined my life. Girl, lean into 3 rainbows. It's a beautiful space. When you come out, your family will be able to finally speak their own obvious truths. And then some other emojis. So I, first of all, can't believe that the scandal of Caroline Manzo saying that Brandi Glanville touched her in her privates where she did not want to be touched and tried to kiss her and all this other stuff while they were filming Ultimate Girls Trip in Morocco. I honestly can't believe that was 2 years ago. Time flies when you're covering this kind of trash. I love it. I love my life. Seems like it was yesterday. And it seems like it was yesterday because I've spoken a lot about Caroline Manzo in the past week because, of course, her brother-in-law, who was married to her actual sister, Dina Manzo, has been convicted of hiring a hitman to beat up Dina's now husband. And he's going to do 7 years. And Caroline proceeded to have a fundraiser for him to pay for his legal fees at the brownstone. And also, let's be reminded that she wrote a character letter about Tommy Manzo and her brother-in-law, ex-husband to Dina, who hired the man to have them beat up. The other case is coming, which is Dina and this same husband went into their home in New Jersey after an event when they were visiting from California and were met by robbers, zip-tied, beat up, both of them beat up. Dina physically beaten up, ring stolen, guns present. That trial is still going to happen. So, but he got 7 years for the original one where only her fiance or boyfriend at the time got hit. But, there's 2 sides to every story, right? So the sister Caroline, and also Dolores, let's not forget Dolores from Real Housewives of New Jersey, also wrote a character letter. He was always nice to me. I'm sure he was. I'm sure he was always nice to you. Anyway, so a lot of people, myself included, think that this situation that happened on camera between Brandi and Caroline, we feel like she may have made a bigger deal out of it, claiming like, I was traumatized, I was violated, the producers didn't protect me, I'm going to sue Bravo, which she did, to keep whatever they did film from coming to air. Because we'll never see the show, which is really shitty for some of the housewives that were really excited to have a comeback. And that is Camille Grammer and Gretchen Rossi and Alex McCord. Those are 3 that we have not seen in a long time. I can't remember the other girls, but those girls were like OGs that we wanted to see back. So this will never see the light of day, I think, because of this lawsuit. And I think she knew to do that. And I think she said things that made her look bad about this case, made her look like what she is, a horrible sister who doesn't care about Dina, who is her much younger sister, who is, living her greatest life now. Though I'm sure she suffers from PTSD. How could you not? I can only imagine if you were a victim of that you wouldn't be walking on eggshells and thinking that remembering the night that you thought you were going to die. So even though she is looking gorgeous and in love and has a most beautiful house in Malibu, doesn't mean that what she went through wasn't completely horrific and haunts her every day. So then to have your sister not really acknowledge that and still be supporting this asshole is just awful. But it makes for a juicy story of family and fame and mafia and everything else. So, so there you go. Though, however, she's not redheaded. Caroline Manzo has gone gray. So that was one of the, that wasn't totally correct in what Brandi wrote. And also Brandi always using the word old, like you're no spring chicken, Brandi. But I still feel for you, girl. I feel for you. I feel that, I get why you're frustrated and why this screwed up your career for the last 2 years. So we'll see if she ever gets a comeback that she deserves. So that all happened. Oh, also Teresa Giudice mentioned that she was offered a very lucrative commercial to promote the movie Deadpool with her arch enemy, Melissa Gorga, her sister-in-law. And Teresa said, I turned it down. But you know what? Melissa said she was going to do it. Can you believe it? I'm like, yeah, I can believe it. We don't even know if your show's coming back. That was stupid, Teresa. Why the fuck wouldn't you do the commercial? You both have kids to put through college, big ass mortgages, a lot, why? And a real commercial like that could have, but she would rather cut off her nose to spite her face and say no to that commercial. I don't agree, Teresa. I think you should have done it, but she didn't. Thought that was interesting. Real Housewives of Orange County is on, and on the last episode, it was just, oh my God, the backgrounds. Okay, so there is, I'm going to explain it for the people that don't watch. There is this girl, Jen. She's been on for 2 years. Her new boyfriend, now fiance, is named Ryan. And Tamara has accused Ryan of, having FBI involved in all of this stuff. He claims, no, it was my best friend who we went on trips with to the Bahamas and places like that, often in Las Vegas. We were just best friends, just two couples, just having fun. He's the one who got in trouble for stealing money from the famous baseball player who is now in the World Series playing for Dodgers. So this whole story came about. And because of his association, Tamara thought there's something going on over there. And she said it, and Jen doesn't like it. And Ryan has threatened to, sue or whatever if she keeps talking about it. But she does keep talking about it. And that is what Tamara does. That is why producers love her. But she also just throws things out there that are rumors or that are not legit news sources or anything, and then puts it on camera. And she did that too to Gina. So this is on the show. I did not talk about this when it came out, like on Reality Blurb, which is a very popular blog about reality stars. But there was a story that allegedly Gina, one of the other cast members, pushed her boyfriend down the stairs, and their 6 kids, 3 on each side, were traumatized by it and went and told Travis's ex-wife, who then shared the story. Now, this was a very small story. Like, I didn't talk about, it was not like a big thing. There was no like arrests or anything, like it was just kind of a thing. And then, of course, Tamara goes and says it on the show and is like, well, I don't know why you're so up Shannon Bedore's ass. Shannon texted me 2 years ago saying, look into this Gina Travis thing. And Gina's like, wow, thanks, Tamara. Like, I really didn't want that out now. Now I have to like address it at the reunion and talk about it. And oh my God, I just feel like I don't know. It would be very scary to join this show and have everybody looking into everything. And it's not just with them. So then going over to Real Housewives of Salt Lake, there's a big thing going on with Whitney. Okay. Whitney is the one who is very upset because she believes that she doesn't know if it's Lisa Barlow or Meredith. You brutalized my family, Marks. But someone's saying that I got my jewelry from Alibaba, which is a, where you can buy mass things. That is not true. My jewelry is curated for Prism Jewels, and it is jewelry that you wear with spiritual intention. She never said it was or wasn't bought there, but she just now was like, who's trying to ruin me by putting it out there? Who told the blogger that put it out there? And first she thought it was Meredith, and Meredith is like, well, no, but I have a jewelry line and I could have told you not to order from Alibaba. And so she then goes to Lisa and she goes, it was you, Lisa. You were the one that told the blogger about buying my jewelry there, which is basically she sells like the jewelry for $42. And allegedly you could get the same thing for $3.46. And we don't know if that's where she got it or not, okay? But she doesn't like that it's out there and being talked about. She's like, this is my business. And Lisa Barlow's like, oh my God, I did not do that. I did not. I am so upset right now. You're not going to accuse me of this. I'm going to get the FBI involved. I'm going to get the LAPD. Hold on. Hi, it's Lisa Barlow. Okay, I'm filming right now and somebody is accusing me of doing something I did not do. I'm going to sue. I need you to find out, get your cyber team behind it. I did not ever talk about you buying zodiac sign necklaces from Alibaba. And she's like, oh my God, why is she acting so crazy? I mean, And Mary's like, looks like little girl got upset. And it is, then I hear from somebody who wrote me, no, it was Heather Gay. I don't know. But then there's a news story that came out that In Touch is exclusively chatting with a brand partner who got caught up in Whitney Rose's company's alleged marketing scheme. So this girl is claiming that there was an MLM marketing situation that happened, which is multi-level marketing where you want to recruit people under you to sell the products. And Whitney Rose Cosmetics was going to turn into another company, and they got these people under them and had them buy all this product, but then they canceled the launch after they bought all the product. So the people are like, we're getting out. So that's basically that. I don't know if there's anything really wrong with that, except I don't think there's any like crime that's happened there. But we know that she and her husband, Justin was a big part of some other big company. MLMs are really popular in the Mormon community. A lot of Mormon moms do it because it's the perfect kind of job where you can stay at home, raise your kids, and still make this money. And then you recruit all your people from the church. But however, just like any MLM, if everybody in your town is selling it, then there's nobody to sell to. And so if you're the last to get in and you have to buy, $5,000 worth of product, that's it. Like, you're not going to find people to sell under you. You're not going to make these big checks. Only the people at the top are. So that doesn't look great for her, but it's okay because she's on Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. Lizzo went to a Halloween party, and she definitely, in my opinion, is on the Ozempic. I don't know if she's come forward or not, but she made a Lizzo Ozempic thing laughing at the South Park episode, which talked about it. And I predicted over 2 years ago when we first started talking about Ozempic, I said, watch, Lizzo is going to get thin next and people are not going to be that supportive of it. I hope they are. She's really beautiful. She's talented. Of course, some people still dislike her because she has former dancers and people that are, I don't know where that lawsuit is, but suing her, saying that she made them do humiliating stuff, made them work, took them to strip clubs and made them do sex acts with sex performers on stage that they didn't want to for her own entertainment, all that kind of stuff. I don't know where that goes. But she too thanked Beyonce for this outfit. So that's good. Susan Powter, Powter. I'm talking to the juicy scoopers of a certain age. This story, do you remember this woman? So this was back in the day of infomercials and fitness craze that you would buy videotapes, VHS tapes, books, all these things from the TV in packages and to find a way to get healthy. What I recall from this woman's story, she's thin, she's beautiful, and she stood out because she had a shaved, spiky, blondish, almost white haircut, like buzz cut. And originally, I guess she was from Australia. And I remember her story being like, she was really obese and she'd show photos of her. And now she's, super fit, perfect abs and whatever, 100 pounds. And it was called Stop the Insanity. And she would talk about, I remember one time she said, think about it, you go to an AA meeting and they're serving coffee and donuts. Why would they do that? These people are already having an addiction of alcohol, and then caffeine's an addiction, sugar's an addiction. Those things shouldn't be served there. Like, she was kind of breaking down stuff like that, which was cool. Then they were like, oh my God, she's going to be stark. She also would talk with no barefoot, which was like a big deal to like do a motivational speech with no shoes. I was like, oh my God. So this was also the time where everybody was getting their own talk show. Just like everybody gets their own podcast. Just imagine like a smaller scale, but literally it seemed like everybody was going to have a talk show. Everyone could have a talk show, and all the talk shows were basically the same. Like, we're going to have regular people come up and you're going to be the dynamic host that people just have to watch every day at 2:00. Everyone thought they could be Oprah. Just like everyone thinks they can be me. Anyway, so she said that was a total bomb. They put her in pearls. It wasn't that. That only lasted one season. Then she was going to be in a sitcom. That didn't go. And she, was making all this money, she thought, and she put it in the hands of somebody, and she did not check. She did not. Anyway, she went totally bankrupt. She's now 66, and she lives in like a senior living situation, and she drives Uber Eats, which is also interesting because she was such a food person. I wonder if that's like weird to pick up different like fast food and deliver it to people. But she was married twice. She had 2 kids. She got divorced. She became a lesbian. And she dated friend of the show, comedian Jessica Kirson for a hot minute in like 2007. Thought that was interesting. Anyway, then she was going to launch a podcast. I don't think she has. I would love to hear her story. So I'm going to reach out to her. I would love to do an interview with her. I want to know more about stuff like this because I've talked to a daughter of a really big fitness person as well. And that man got screwed out of a lot of money too. And he is still a big fitness person. But when everybody was when it was all those infomercials and buying those VHS tapes, unless like you owned it or owned the property of it, they really screwed over people like that. And I think that would be a very interesting conversation. There's probably some documentary getting worked on it about these probably 90s people that we all watched that if they probably got screwed over. So that's sad. It's Halloween, you guys. It's around the corner. And this popped up. This happened 50 years ago in Texas. This man was accused and went on trial for he was known as the Candyman Killer. On Halloween night, he was married. He was in the church. He had 2 kids. And he gave them these pixie sticks. Like it's like a straw and you eat it. And one of his kids ate it and got very, very sick and died. The other one he gave it to, but she didn't eat it, so she was okay. He also gave it to 3 other kids, and they didn't eat it, so thank God. But his own son did. And he said, I bought it from some guy selling candy, like on the corner. So there must be, some crazy person putting poison. So he put cyanide. It was cyanide in the pixie sticks. There must be a crazy person putting poison in Halloween candy. Anyway, the prosecutor, I guess, proved to a jury that he, in fact, had opened it and put the cyanide in it because he had life insurance, $31,000 on each kid, and he wanted to get that money when they died. So sick. This was his own kids. Absolutely horrible. He did get the death penalty. But I wonder if it was this story that then sparked, like, I'm going to look it up for my next show, where people would say, there's razor blades in candy, or, like, first of all, it just made no sense. I think that was definitely an urban myth. Why would somebody just be like putting poison in candy and not even know who got it? Or, it would be an easy thing to track back to someone's house. I don't know. But of course there was a time where we'd come home and we were so paranoid about being poisoned, like by our own neighbors, which is weird. So you pull out, you couldn't eat any of the candy, like as you were picking it up that was like just for fun. And then you dump it, and then your parents would go through it and like look at each wrapper and make sure like it's a Snickers and it's safe. Any funky thing, never anything homemade, all that like went in the trash. And then there was a time where people like give little toys or give money or whatever. Now I feel like, it's pretty safe or whatever. I hope Jimmy Kimmel stops that stupid joke of like parents, or if you're one of those parents, don't do that. Now that you have old enough kids, don't do the trick where you say you ate all the candy. I just think that is like so done. We just don't need to see those videos this year. We don't need to see the kid that's super sweet. That's like, that's okay, mommy. If you were hungry, I don't need to have the candy. And we don't need to see the kids that are like, I'm going to kill you and like go and leap for their mother's throat. Okay. We don't need to see that. We don't need to see that. This is just a played out prank on social media that we've watched for 15 years. So skip that. Just have a nice, safe Halloween time. This was really interesting. This was on a British show, and this actress, I don't know how to pronounce her name. It's Saoirse Ronan. She's Irish. And there were Denzel Washington, a couple other actors. She was the only woman sitting there. And they were joking about, what would happen if you were like attacked or what you would say to someone who had a gun to your head. And they were just joking about it. And then she said something to the effect, well, that's what women go through every day. Like we fear this all the time. And it's like not funny, something to that. And so a lot of people are picking it up because the guys then realized, yeah. Anyway, don't mean to make it about myself, but on Thursday's show, when I was with Sloan and we were talking about assault and all those kind of things, that is something that I've had to tell my husband and my sons over to make them understand that as a woman, that our fear never stops. We are scared when we're little girls, just like a boy might be a little bit scared, but the boy somewhat grows out of it unless they're really like in a dangerous situation. But we are fear danger every single day when we're in our homes, when we are walking around, when we are working out, when we're walking to our car, everything. So it's just interesting that then this was also said. So it's just like I said on Thursday's show, it's important that people just kind of realize that is a huge difference between men and women that will never change because it just physically, we are women and it's different and we're smaller and it's just a different kind of a thing so I thought that was really interesting. Okay, some Diddy updates. Kept it to the end because whatever. This video is going viral. It's from many years ago, and it's when Diddy invited the 12-year-old star. She was in the movie Ring. Her name is Davey Chase to party. And it was like they presented it to her, the award. And then afterwards, there's a video of Diddy being like, you should come to the after party. And he's like laughing. And they have not talked to the girl. I don't think she went to the after party. Is it weird today? Yeah. But it wouldn't have been weird if he wasn't accused of all these horrible things with many people who are saying it happened when they were not of age. So that was one thing. Also, the judge slaps feds with a gag order. Basically, in the criminal trial, the judge is saying, you've got to watch what you're saying. You cannot say anything more about the evidence that you found because there were some feds or whatnot that were being quoted by New York Post and other places as saying, we saw the videos and it's some sick shit on there. They're like, don't be saying that. Don't put it out there because that would affect his right to a fair trial. Oh, then to just add to just what is out there. There is a Discovery documentary on Chris Brown. And they get into the gruesome details of the horrific story of when he and Rihanna were dating. And some of you might not know the story. And they were coming back from an award ceremony, an event. And he spoke about it at the time and they collected it, but he beat her up. He punched her with a closed fist and he admitted that. And her face was bloody and it was horrible, and he was pretty much canceled. People, I don't remember, so that's why I'm going to watch this, because I don't remember, did he do any time? What happened with it all? In his stories, he was like, she was hitting me, and I had her back, and, whatever. I don't know if he was ever apologetic or whatever. But then, along with the story, with this documentary, also featured in this doc, a woman accuses him of her on Sean Diddy Combs' yacht, which was in 2020. And there was also that other woman who said something happened on a Sean P. Diddy yacht. And she accused P. Diddy's son of the same thing. So both the yacht stories of these two victims, one of the blaming Chris Brown, the other one, Diddy's son, very similar, given some drink that all of a sudden their bodies can't move and then a person is on top of them and they can't, break free. And then the pink cocaine. Oh, this is so sad, about Liam Payne. So just to cover the pink cocaine, it is typically a powdery mix of ketamine and illegal substances such as methamphetamine, MDMA, or opioids. I mean, it sounds like it's like basically everything but the kitchen sink, literally, when it comes to drugs. It is, it's emerging, and they're seeing young people, and it has high doses of ketamine, and can really affect the cardiovascular and the respiratory situation. It also will affect bladder, anxiety, panic attacks, palpitations, chest pains, depression, aggravated symptoms of existing mental health issues, slurred speech, inability to speak. Absolutely horrible. People said that they saw him in the lobby prior. So I think it's very clear that he was having these underlying issues, and then he got a hold of this drug that sent him over the edge, in which then he ran and jumped out of the building, it sounds like. So really sad. I did not know that he had a show in the works at Netflix. Kind of sounds like an American Idol kind of a thing. This was called Building the Band, a singing competition series scheduled to debut on Netflix. They had completed the filming of the show, along with A.J. McLean, Nicole Scherzinger, and Kelly Rowland. So they were all parts of, boy and girl bands and Pussycat Dolls and Destiny's Child and everything. So it makes sense they'd all be working together on this. And the premiere date has not been set following his tragic fall. So, of course, the co-stars of this, are very sad and had nice things to say. But yeah, I don't know what you do with that. I wonder how many episodes they shot. What if you were one of the people that was featured on this and maybe won it, and then they're going to shelve it? That is also very sad too, but you can understand it might be very strange to watch, him being delightful and giving advice. And so I don't know what you do in that situation, but I'm going to predict that they do it with somebody else and start all over. And maybe those same people that were part of the first competition can also be in this one. I don't know, but I don't think we're going to see it. All right, you guys, remember, if you're part of the Apple paid subscription, click on the link below in the description right here, and we will send you the information that you need so that you do not miss out on anything. I appreciate that. Also, go to heathermcdonald.net to go to my Irvine show. That is November 8th, 9th, and 10th. And also my shows in February. February 14th is New York City Palladium, then DC Kennedy Center on Saturday the 15th, and February the 16th, I'll be in Red Bank, New Jersey. All those dates are at heathermcdonald.net. Thank you.